Denied. Do not go in there. The Dallas Mavericks have denied permission from the New York Knicks to interview Jason Kidd for their head coaching position, plus the latest trade rumors on Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. All of that and more discussed right here on today's show. Before we get into the bulk of it, hit that subscribe button right now. If anything happens regarding the Dallas Mavericks, my promise to you is that we will cover it right here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. And let's get into today's show. Official word came earlier this morning that the Mavericks officially denied permission from the New York Knicks to interview Jason Kidd for their head coaching position, which is what was widely expected throughout NBA circles. But now that we have official confirmation of that, let's jump into some of the details. Charania of ESPN, the premier NBA insider at the moment, although we all wish Woj was back. Come back, Woj, if you're watching this. But Shams did say Dallas gave a firm rejection to New York, stating that any approach for Jason Kidd would just firmly not be allowed from the Dallas Mavericks. However, the Athletics' James L. Edwards did say that the New York Knicks' pursuit of Jason Kidd may not be over, despite the formal rejection of permission to interview. So we'll see what happens there and how that would be even possible. I mean, there's obviously always back channeling happening between agents and front offices here in the NBA. So while the Athletic reports that the Knicks' pursuit of Kidd may not be over, I think it pretty much is. The Athletic also said there's no indication that Dallas wants Kidd to leave. They are happy with him to continue as head coach. And by all accounts, Kidd is happy to continue as the Mavericks head coach. Jason Kidd has been around the Mavericks facility over the last days and weeks. The Mavericks are holding a little free agent minicamp. Dennis Smith Jr., among others, is there participating in that to see if the Mavs could use any of these veterans who are kind of in and out of the league, on the verge of maybe going to Europe or in the G League and whatnot. It's not any, free agent of consequence. But Kidd has been there. He's been involved in the day-to-day operations. He's been involved in the Cooper Flagg stuff. He will be there at Cooper Flagg's workout next week. So it seems like Kidd is still very invested in the Dallas Mavericks, and the Mavs are invested in Kidd. And I do think this is good news. I'm glad to finally put this stuff to bed, that the Mavericks don't have to worry about who their head coach is going to be next season. And I'm happy to continue with Jason Kidd leading this team alongside Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving and Cooper Flagg. So F the New York Knicks. I'm glad that we finally can just put that to bed. The Knicks have been effing with the Mavs for the last 3 seasons when they tampered for Jalen Brunson back in February, and they ended up having to forfeit a couple second-round picks, which should have come to the Mavs. But that's neither here nor there. If the Mavs ended up letting Jason Kidd go to the Knicks, I think it would have been embarrassing on all fronts, from Patrick Dumont, from Nico Harrison on down. But it sounds like they are keeping J. Kidd in place, and Kidd has actually added to his coaching staff, which we'll talk about here in just a few moments. But I do want to get your guys' one-word reaction to Jason Kidd staying in Dallas. Let me know down there in the comment section. My one-word reaction is good. I think it is good that Jason Kidd is staying here in Dallas. This is also the community post there on our tab. So go to the channel, put your comment down there, and put it on this video as well. As I mentioned earlier, the Mavs are adding Jay Triano to the coaching staff, longtime Canadian national team head coach. He's also been an assistant / a head coach in the NBA for over 20 years. I mean, just look at this resume. He was an assistant for the Raptors from 2002 to 2008. He was their head coach for almost 4 seasons from 2008 to 2011. Been an assistant in Portland, an assistant and the head coach in Phoenix, assistant in Charlotte and Sacramento before joining the Dallas Mavericks staff here for the 25-26 season. So this is what the updated coaching staff looks like for the Mavericks right now. You have Jason Kidd as the head coach, Sean Sweeney, Jay Triano, and Jared Dudley as the lead assistants. You have Josh Brookhammer behind the bench as well. You also have the likes of God Shamgod. You have Tyson Chandler. You have Frank Vogel as a consultant. And this does appear to be the finalized staff. And personally, I do think Jay Triano's a great hire. I've known Jay, and Jay has known my family for about 20 years or so. So it's really cool to have a personal connection to the Mavericks coaching staff as well. So I might be a little bit biased in saying that it's a great hire, but I do think it's a good hire nonetheless. And a guy with 20 years experience coaching in this league can never be a bad thing. So congrats to Jay Triano. Welcome to Dallas. Excited to have him on staff and on board with Jason Kidd, Cooper Flagg, and the Dallas Mavericks. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's going to be an interesting offseason ahead for the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to talk about some of those interesting wrinkles here, including Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington in just a moment. Currently, we're sitting at 32,214 subs. Help me get to 32,300 on today's video. That would be absolutely awesome to show that you are interested in this Mavericks team as they head into a new era of Mavs basketball. And while you are pressing that sub button, also go check out our friends over at Fanatics. The official Dallas Mavericks draft hats are available. These ones are fresh, man. I got mine in the mail coming right now. If you go to chatsports.com/MavsDraft, you can get yours today. And Fanatics will send us part of the proceeds if you use that link, chatsports.com/MavsDraft, to go get yours. They have the fresh white one with the blue bill. They have the all blue one as well. Go on down there. Shout out to Fanatics, chatsports.com/MavsDraft. Go and get yours today. That link will also be in the comments and the description of today's show. We appreciate Fanatics for sponsoring this episode of Mavericks Today. All right, now let's talk about the possibility of the Mavericks keeping both Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington on the roster this season. Marc Stein put this report out on his Substack. If you haven't subscribed to Marc Stein's Substack, by the way, what are you doing already? He's the most plugged-in Mavs insider there is. But he said, I'm not sitting here saying they won't be traded. I just think the Mavericks' preference is they would love to find a way to not to have to surrender either one. I just don't know if that's practical. And I absolutely think that's the Mavericks' preference as well. It'd be my preference if I was running the Dallas Mavericks. PJ Washington, over his stint with the Mavs, has been an absolute godsend, especially when they traded for him at the 24 NBA trade deadline. He was a big reason why the Mavs got to the finals. And last year, he was an absolute dog and kept things afloat when things could have gone very, very awry. Averaged almost 15 and 8 last season, 38% from three, and guarded the opposing team's best player on any given night. I love PJ Washington. He's a Dallas native, grew up in Frisco. However, I do think he is the more expendable asset here at the moment, especially because Cooper Flagg is coming in and is going to take his role as the starting three. Washington can play the 3 or the 4, and if he wants to come off the bench for this season and be a super sub for the Mavericks, he would still play starter minutes, and he would have a ton of versatility and give the Mavs a ton of options. That would be fantastic. But if there's a team that comes along and wants to give the Mavs a first-round pick to take on PJ Washington and give him a huge extension, I don't think that the Mavs could really say no to that, especially when the other side of the coin with Daniel Gafford is a guy who I think the Mavericks absolutely have to keep this season. Gafford last year, 70% from the field, almost 2 blocks a night in only 57 games. But I think that Gafford is the one that you have to keep over Washington if you are forced to trade one of them, is because of the health status of Derek Lively as well. Lively has battled injury issues the last 3 seasons, dating back to his lone year at Duke and then his rookie season. And obviously last year, we know the well-documented injury issues he had as well. I do think Gafford probably commands a better return on the trade market than PJ Washington would. I think you would be getting a first-round pick, plus maybe even a prospect in return for Daniel Gafford. But I think he's the more valuable one to the Mavericks right now, especially with the addition of Cooper Flagg in this starting lineup. While Gafford could still start or come off the bench alongside Derek Lively, I think Cooper Flagg is your starting small forward from day one. Alongside PJ Washington and Klay Thompson in the backcourt, you have Anthony Davis at the 4 and Lively at the 5. If the Mavs are completely 100% healthy, I think this is their starting lineup. Obviously, we don't know the immediate future of Kyrie Irving, but all signs indicate that there's nowhere else that Kyrie is going to be next season other than a Dallas Maverick. We just don't know in what form or fashion. And then off the bench, I think the Mavericks want to bring back Dante Exum. There's mutual interest there. You have Jaden Hardy under contract. Brandon Williams, I think, is going to play a big role this year. We'll see what Max Christie ends up doing. And then I have Washington slated in there right now. Like I said, if PJ is here, I think he becomes the sort of sixth man, would play 28 to 30 minutes a night at both the 3 and the 4. Then you have Najee Marshall and Omax Prosper. Omax is expected to resume basketball activity here in the next few weeks. I wonder if he ends up being on the Summer League roster. Now, you'd never want to play a guy going into his 3rd year in the Summer League, but in Omax's case, I think you kind of have to put him out there and see what he's got. And then you have Daniel Gafford and Dwight Powell there at the center, which completes the rotation. So if this ends up being the Mavericks rotation next year and they don't do anything else, look, I think that's pretty damn good. Now, you're not getting Kyrie back until January or February at the earliest, so there's also that. But I think this squad could do some damage, and we'll see what happens with Gafford or Washington. If I'm choosing, I think I would end up keeping PJ Washington over Daniel Gafford, just from my heart standpoint. I just absolutely love PJ, but I love Gafford too, so it's like really hard to pick one to keep, but you guys let me know down in the comments who I should be keeping. If you think it should be Daniel Gafford type G, if you think it's PJ Washington type W, if you think it's neither, type that down there in the comment section as well. And that will do it for today's show, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in to Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Jason Kidd staying in Dallas. We'll see what happens here in the coming days and weeks. The NBA draft is just 2 weeks away as well. Cooper Flagg, 2 weeks from today, will be a Dallas Mavericks. Stay tuned. We'll keep you guys up to date with anything happening with the Dallas Mavericks.